Hello, everyone. Let's begin by revisiting the video from last week, 17 Tips for Learning a New Language. This video provided a comprehensive guide to mastering a new language, offering a variety of strategies and insights. Today, we'll be focusing on how to use this material for your process analysis assignment. As you know, the video outlined 17 different tips. While the video covered a lot of ground, your task now is to take those points and organize them into a structured process analysis. What does that mean? It means we're not just listing tips, we're explaining how they work together as a process. For example, some tips focus on preparation and mindset, while others deal with actionable techniques like speaking, listening, and writing. The challenge is figuring out how to group these ideas logically so your reader can easily follow along. Here we have a visual representation of the points from last week's video, arranged sequentially. While this format lists all 17 tips clearly, it presents a challenge when writing a process analysis essay. Why? Because listing all the points in this order makes the essay feel overly complex and lacks the clarity a reader needs to follow the steps effectively. The goal of process analysis isn't just to present information, but to organize it in a way that guides the reader step by step. This sequential approach doesn't highlight relationships between the tips or group them into logical categories, which makes the essay harder to follow. So, what can we do instead? We'll focus on grouping these points into broader themes or stages of the learning process. For example, some tips deal with preparation and mindset, like setting goals or choosing a learning method. Others focus on daily practice strategies, such as grammar, vocabulary, or speaking exercises. And there are tips for immersive learning, like engaging with native speakers or traveling to a language-speaking country. By reorganizing the information into categories like these, we can create a clearer, more structured essay that effectively communicates the process of learning a new language. This is what we'll work on improving today. Here, we see the 17 essential tips for language learning presented in a more visually appealing flow. This structure improves clarity by connecting related ideas and showing progression. However, while it's an improvement over a plain list, this linear format still makes it challenging to group ideas into categories for a well-organized essay. Instead of treating these steps as a strict sequence, we can cluster them into these thematic categories. This will help streamline your essay and make it easier for readers to follow. Later in this session, we'll practice breaking these tips into broader themes and structuring them into a process analysis. Now that we've discussed the limitations of listing points sequentially, let's talk about a better approach, combining thematic division with process analysis. This means breaking the material into clear, manageable categories. When you divide the 17 tips into themes, you make the content easier to understand and follow. Each category becomes a distinct section of your essay with its own focus. But don't stop there. Use process analysis to go deeper into each category. Explain how the individual tips within a category are connected and how they contribute to the overall goal of language learning. For example, in the preparation category, show how setting achievable goals, choosing the right language, and selecting a suitable method all work together to build a strong foundation. By using this combination of thematic organization and detailed process analysis, you'll create an essay that is not only well-structured, but also insightful and engaging. This approach helps your reader clearly understand both the steps and their significance. Now let's focus on the first stage of language learning, what you should do before you start learning. This stage is all about preparation, which lays the groundwork for your success. Setting clear goals. The first step is to establish clear and measurable learning goals. Ask yourself, why do you want to learn this language? Is it for work, travel, or personal growth? By defining your goals, you can stay focused and measure your progress effectively. Choosing a language. Next, carefully select the language you want to learn. This choice should align with your personal or professional interests. For example, if you plan to work in a specific country, learning their language could greatly enhance your opportunities. Effective learning methods. Finally, explore and choose the most effective learning methods that suit your style. This might include self study, online courses, or formal classes. Think about how you learn best and plan accordingly. Once you've set a strong foundation, the next stage focuses on what you should do during the learning process. This is where the real effort begins and consistent practice becomes key. Consistent practice. Consistency is the cornerstone of mastering a new language. Regular practice reinforces what you've learned, helping you retain vocabulary and improve grammar skills. Set aside dedicated time daily or weekly to ensure steady progress. Building vocabulary. Expanding your vocabulary is crucial for effective communication. Focus on frequently used words and phrases that will enable you to express ideas clearly in real life situations. Understanding grammar. A solid understanding of grammar rules helps you construct correct sentences and enhances your overall language proficiency. Grammar might seem intimidating at first, but breaking it down into manageable chunks makes it easier to tackle. Improving communication skills. Finally, language is all about communication. Practicing speaking and listening actively will help you become more fluent. Engaging in conversations with others, even if you make mistakes, builds confidence and refines your skills. Once you've completed the formal learning phase, the journey doesn't stop there. What you do after learning is just as important for maintaining and refining your language skills. Daily practice. Even after finishing structured lessons, it's essential to keep practicing daily. Regular engagement helps reinforce your language skills, prevents you from forgetting what you've learned, and maintains your fluency over time. For example, you can set aside a few minutes each day to review vocabulary, practice speaking, or read in the target language. Conversation partners. Finding conversation partners is a fantastic way to keep improving your speaking skills. Conversations help you gain confidence, refine your pronunciation, and apply what you've learned in real-world scenarios. Platforms like language exchange websites or local meetup groups can connect you with native speakers or fellow learners. Digital tools. Finally, don't underestimate the power of digital tools. Apps, online resources, and multimedia platforms can offer interactive and engaging ways to continue learning. Whether it's watching videos, using language apps, or participating in online forums, these tools help you stay connected to the language. The division into pre-learning, during learning, and post-learning stages sets an example of combining thematic categorization and chronological process analysis organization. By grouping similar tips together, you're not only making your essay easier to read, but also enhancing your ability to remember and explain key ideas. For example, grouping tips about preparation, like setting goals and choosing a method, gives context and purpose to those actions. While this categorization is a starting point, I encourage you to think critically and come up with your own way of organizing the tips. Don't simply copy what we've done here. Ask yourself, what connections do you see between the tips? How would you structure them to best explain the process in your essay? Organizing the tips into meaningful categories is a skill that will make your analysis more coherent, engaging, and impactful. Let's now work on applying this method in your own writing.